Now, OG really did not speak about the motion. They did not speak about why leaders should tell their believers to do this or not do this. They just spoke about whether people should or should not wear those yarmulkes. We don't even have an opinion on this. We think in some places maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't, but the motion explicitly says about leaders saying, and I think we should focus on that. And we will listen. Opening opposition touched on that a little bit. We will expand massively. Okay. And then we heard from closing government just a little bit about saying, oh, these leaders, whatever they will say, the believers will follow, unquestioning. We will touch on that as well. Now, what I will bring you is 2 points. One, why this motion will not change bigotry and racism in the population. I will explain on that. This is in direct engagement with what we heard from opening government and closing government. Really, all their cases hinge on that it actually improves the situation. We'll show you why it doesn't improve the situation. Second, we'll really go into detail to mechanism, what happens when the leaders tell this to the population and how it's starting to become a disconnect between the leaders and the followers, and why this disconnect is so harmful to that specific society of minority religious people. Now, opening opposition starts to say that it's important to be part of that community. They say that there'll be some hurting their identity. We will actually explain to you how this is happening and why this is so bad, the mechanisms and the consequences. Now, before I go into these points, there's two, or a little bit of extraneous rebuttal. One of that is they tell us when the population, he gave us the Hungary as an example of when the population sees things and then they start to hate immigrants and so on. But this is so untrue. Actually, Hungary is a perfect example to why this is not. There are no immigrants in Hungary. The fact that Orban is going against them and promoting them and doing his populist speech and actually rallying his people, the right wing, against them is regardless of the fact that they're not in the streets and nobody sees them because there are hardly any immigrants in Hungary. And that really shows that the point is not the fact that they're swarming the streets and the population says, oh my God, look at those millions Islams. That's not what's happening. What is happening is populist talk by right-wing leaders that makes the people hate those immigrants even though they don't even see them. So this is not really a point for this. Okay, now, one more point of rebuttal about the fact that leaders will be able to change the behavior immediately. Look, there are thousands of years of Jewish people, literally thousands, wearing the yarmulke, growing beard. This is written in the Bible that you should not cut your beard. And even if it's not written in the Bible, there's like 1,000 years of annotations and explanations and interpretations. You can't just come and say, okay, forget it. Let's eat pork, let's cut our beards. It's not going to happen. What is going to happen? Before that, why it's not going to minimize racism? Well, you have to acknowledge, and they completely ignore this, that there are other characteristics that help the people identify those specific people as minorities, even if they don't wear a yarmulke or a hijab or something. First of all, his name is Muhammad. That's telling us something, maybe. Second, they look differently. Unfortunately or fortunately, they do look different even if they don't wear a specific clothes. They have a different accent. They have a different skin color. They do look different. They live in specific neighborhoods. And all those things really, I mean, people that hate Muslims or immigrants will hate them even if they don't wear a specific thing. So that's not going to help at all, because those racists will actually go after them anyway, and we never got a proof from government that it's those specific clothing that makes them hate immigrants. So we don't think this will happen, and that's why all the case really brought them. But let's go into the deeper analysis. No, I don't have that. What will happen really when the leaders, and this is really the debate, do we believe that leaders should come to their followers and tell them you should not, you have to stop wearing those things? Now, we believe that message, and this is a message debate, we believe this message is going to have a big disconnect between the followers and the leaders. Because some of the followers maybe will just say, you know what, okay, we'll just go there. Some of the followers will say, you are betraying our faith, betraying our ancestors, betraying the Holy Scripts. This is not something we accept. And that will create a disconnect between many of the people and the leaders in these communities. Why is that so important? because those leaders are critical support for the people of those communities. And then in time of trouble, they don't have anyone else to go to. This is really critical. Why? You have to remember, that was actually also mentioned by government. Those minority people are not well connected to the state. Often they are immigrants, in most cases in Europe at least, and they don't have trust with the state, and they don't have trust with the institutions. They're not fully connected to the state. So if they have, the real connection is to their community, is to their religious, ethnic community. Now, it's not just for identity, as was already mentioned by Oo, but also for cross-support between the people. These are people of low means. They need help in housing, in education, in supporting each other. That's why they live together. And now, what's happening here, and religion is a central part. No, I don't have time. My will take it. And then religion is a central part of their identity and part of their community. Now what's going to happen there? Because those people will now not feel, they will not trust their leaders, and they will come less for help. Remember that this religious leader is often the arbitrator in conflicts and disputes in the community. He's the moral authority. He's sometimes, again, helping to mediate between people. A very important, not just religious-wise, but in community life. Second, you can expect those people who are less connected to come less often to community services, to the synagogue, to the church, to the mosque, whatever, because now they don't feel connected, they don't want to be with the leader, they don't trust him, they don't feel comfortable. So you can expect them to start to disconnect from the community. And that community is critical for their well-being and for them, for instance, finding a job, finding friends, getting on in society, assimilating later on, maybe the next generation, as they accumulate a little bit more money and get to know the language better. So all that, because if the leaders come and tell them whether they accept it or not, and we'll show you it wouldn't help in racism, is actually putting a wedge between the leaders and community. We think this is very harmful, as we explained. We're proud to